All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Maxed Out Radio. Maxed Out Radio no shin episodo yokoso. Today is very, very exciting. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the music today. We're just going to get right into it. We're not going to waste any time. We'll leave this music on for a little bit while I'm talking over this. Hopefully it's not too loud. I haven't done one of these episodes in a long time. It's been a while. It has really been a while. And so I was a little scuffed on the Japanese intro. They're still working on it. I'm starting to understand my Japanese a lot better. I haven't really been able to practice with it all that much, so my pronunciation is still bad. I don't really have anyone to speak Japanese with, so it's really hard to learn a language that way. But I do understand actually quite a bit of it now, which is quite interesting how that happened, because I think I've been doing it for about a year now. So it's quite interesting when you learn a language, like it just kind of happens, which is so funny. But we have this lovely question from the last episode, which was over a month ago. It's really been a long time. I'll get more into that later. Today's going to be a bit of a rambling episode. We're going to go into that. But this question is from Ultracart Things. Thank you again for submitting to the show. Really appreciate it. Considering your background as a musician, do you incorporate the nitty-gritty details behind music production into the story? I personally love girls' hobby shows stories where it's obvious that the author knows their stuff about the hobby that the characters participate in and makes the characters feel more real. And I can safely say, as I'm going to turn this music off here, I can safely say 100% in Maxed Out, there is nitty-gritty details about music. This was something that I had to learn about writing the story that was really difficult, was how to manage the amount of details that you put in. So when I first started writing the story, I was dropping details left and right like crazy. And then I realized as I was doing that I was taking up like 5 pages a chapter talking about those things and just rambling on forever about it. And unfortunately, in my personal opinion, that's not really how you build a good story, right? Because it just kind of gets boring after a while. So I had to learn how to manage it properly. And in that, I can confidently say there is 100% detail-oriented things about music in this story. And it's one of the reasons I wanted to write this story the way that I did, was that for those of you who are waiting for this to come out, we're going to get into that later of when this is coming out. But for those of you who are waiting and what you're anticipating Max Out to be, 100% this is going to be a story that is heavily, heavily focused on the music that was created for it. So I'm going to give you guys a preview of some of the music that I've been writing for it, because I've been doing it for quite a while now, and we're just starting to get to the stage of the final releases. And so I'm going to play a little bit of that later on as we talk about it. But the only reason I brought that up was because a lot of, for those of you who don't know, I am a professional musician. So what's really cool about this story is I was able to write a story about music from the perspective of somebody who went through that professional music path. And it's just really interesting to see how that dynamic worked, because I wasn't a professional story writer. So I had to learn all of that. And it was quite a challenging process for sure. It took a long time to figure out how to write a professional level story. But essentially, to answer your question, yeah, there is 100% detail-oriented things about music in this story. And it's why I've really grown to love the work that I'm writing, because it's so fun to share all of those things with you guys. And I think for sure that someone reading this is going to understand that I love music and love to talk about it and share things about it. And they'll be able to pick up that through the manga itself and hopefully the anime in the future. I've always kind of thought about it this way, like, you know, there's a lot of anime out there that are very dramatized in the sense of how they present a hobby, I guess. Not all of them, but some of them are. Particularly, there's a few shows that I can think of. I'm not going to name them, but like just the way that they, even though they're good shows, the way that they portray a situation happening when it's related to a hobby, it's very dramatized, right? It's not realistic in the way things unfold. And they do that for a reason, right? Because they're drama animes and they're meant to keep you engaged and stuff like that. But the one thing about Maxed Out that I really taken into consideration is the story realistically progressing through someone picking up an instrument and playing music in a band. I think, as you guys can understand, I'm not really spoiling anything there, right? I'm sure all of you guys are aware that this story is about a band at this point, as most music stories are. But what's really cool about this story is that it's done in a realistic way. And although I've never played in a band, I've done a lot of research because I was a solo musician, still am a solo musician. And I know what that journey was like and going through it. And I remember all the little nuances and details and the struggles and the success that I had in that journey. And so that's really what Maxed Out is about, is capturing those moments that I lived through and having each of the characters in the book represent those emotions that I went through. And that's why, I really, sorry if you can hear any of that in the background. I don't think you can, but there's construction going on outside of my house, but I'm recording an episode anyways. But that's why Maxed Out is so near and dear to me, and why I've put so much love into this project and why it's taking such a long time for it to come out is because I'm essentially reliving through those moments that I went through to write a really accurate story of what it was like to go through that path as a musician and essentially start from nothing, and just how that affected my life, basically. So that is one thing I really, really, I love that question, by the way. Ultra Cart Things, I believe, is your username. Returning viewer. They have watched quite a few episodes, and I believe they're from one of my other YouTube channels, if I'm not mistaken. So thank you so much for that question, because I really, really love that, and I wanted to share that with you guys. It is definitely, you're going to know that I love music for sure when you read this story, and I've tried really hard in a realistic way, like not over the top, but in what do they call that term? Like in moderation. I've tried really hard in moderation. The songs that I've written for the manga, for anyone, if this is your first episode watching Maxed Out Radio, Maxed Out is a manga about music. And the unique thing about it is not only did I write the manga, draw the manga, whatever you want to call it, but I also wrote the music for it, which is something that I don't think has really been done before. It probably has, but I'm not sure if it's been done to the level that we're doing it at right now. Like, this has been 100% the craziest, most intensive creative project I've ever done in my life. It's taken a year to get to the point that I'm at right now, and I feel like I'm nowhere even near finished yet. It's just absolutely insane, but I can't express enough how much fun I'm having doing this. This is like the most fun I've ever had working on anything before. And so the music itself, when writing the actual music, I've paid attention to every little thing that I've done. And I'm trying to remember every little thing that I did with the songs, so that when I get to that point in the story where they're writing the tracks, I'm dropping the information of how I did it in real life and them in the story explaining how they did it. So it's really, really cool if you can understand what I said there. I'm not sure if that made sense, but I think it did. So it's really cool. I'm definitely going to be dropping details for sure. Was there another part of that question that I didn't answer? That was the last thing I wanted to go over. It makes the characters feel real. This is something that I have tried so hard on when writing this story. My mom knows all about it. She's been a huge help with allowing me to just get my thoughts out and just speak to somebody, because it's always different when you talk to somebody about something creative, right? You just get another set of ears on it, even if it's not your target demographic, right? Like of course my mom is going to read my story, but she's not my target demographic, right? Obviously this is a story catered, I'd say, more towards artists. So it doesn't matter what you do creatively, but it's definitely catered towards any artistic people. And I would say from the ages of like 15 to 40 is probably the age window that this story applies to. And I really struggled at the start with writing characters that felt real. And I think it was just because when you're a new story writer, like, you just don't really know how to go about writing a story, right? It's all so fresh. You don't know what needs to be included, what doesn't need to be, what the characters need to be like. And as I went on, it became much more concrete of who Max was as a character, the person that you're seeing on the screen right now, and who the other three characters are. We're going to get into that later on. I'm trying not to talk about the other characters of the band too much right now because I guess this is a perfect segue because I don't really need to go much more into what I was saying. All I was going to say was that I've spent a lot of time making sure that the characters feel realistic and that multiple different personality types can relate to them. Like all of you guys reading the story can read through the manga and feel like you connect with each of the characters. That's basically what I was trying to say. So that segues perfectly into the next point of why I'm not sharing so much. And that's because I think Maxed Out is coming out soon, guys. This is probably going to be the title of this episode, and I'll put a timestamp on the video of when I'm talking right now. So we're about 10 minutes in. I don't think this is going to be a super long episode today, but Maxed Out might be coming out soon. It might be coming out soon. So I'll explain why it was taking so long originally. Like, this project has been going on for almost about a year now. It's probably been a year. And it's probably been about 8 months since I announced it. So I'd been working on it for 4 months, and then I announced it because I thought it was going to come out quite soon. And then it just kind of went radio silent for a while. And then the first piece of official content was this radio show. So I'm sure a lot of people are very confused. And I'm going to explain why that happened and basically what the point of that is and when is Maxed Out going to be releasing, because it actually might be sooner than you think. So the thing about Maxed Out was that when I originally wrote it, I didn't intend for it to really become anything. Like, I was just writing it for fun, and I thought it was just going to be a little project that I was just going to do for fun. Like, I didn't really know much about manga at that time, and it just wasn't really like that in depth. It wasn't until about 6 months after I had started working on it. So if we're looking at the window, probably about like 2 months after I announced it or something like that, that I really began to take it super seriously. And I just realized how awesome of a project this could be. Excuse me. Not to float my own boat or anything like that. That's not what I'm trying to do here at all. More of like, I was having so much fun working on it that I realized there was a lot of potential here because I just became so passionate about it. Like I absolutely, I can't explain this guy enough. And I'm sure you can just kind of sense it from the way I'm talking right now. I love this project so much. Like, I've been having so much fun doing this. It's so freaking cool. I just think it's so awesome. And it's such an awesome way to like creatively express the whole spectrum of creative things like drawing, music, all that stuff. Anyways, from that point on, I knew I was going to take this very seriously. And so what ended up happening was I kind of rewrote the story again because I was constantly improving. So I just wanted to keep like doing it better. So for those of you who are curious, I was a professional electronic musician. I had never played any instruments before besides the piano. I taught myself how to play the piano when I was about 10 years old, and that was my foundation in music. I didn't know how to read sheet music or anything like that. I just played everything by ear. And so I got into making EDM music around maybe when I was 10, I think. And so I had been making EDM music for like 13, 14 years before I even considered picking up the guitar. And then I watched Bochi the Rock and then bought my first guitar. And about 3 days after I bought my first guitar was when the first concepts of Maxed Out became a thing. And so from that point onwards, that was when Maxed Out started becoming very serious because I really, really wanted to write J-Rock. And we've been over this story before, I think in the first episode, so I'm not going to go on too much about that part of it. But from there was a lot of learning that needed to, I should say. And that's why this has taken so long, is because I want this to be a professional product in the sense of I want someone to pick this up and really feel like it was done with a lot of care and a lot of passion. And so I've made sure that everything has been like triple, even quadruple checked to be to the point where I don't think I could personally improve it much more. I don't like really, honestly and truthfully, at this current stage of my development as a manga artist, story writer, and musician, I don't think I can do much better than what I'm going to release to you guys. Not in saying that it's good, because I think there is 100% room for improvement in the future, because just like anything in life, you're constantly getting better at the things that you do. But at this point in my development, I'm still learning, I'm still growing, but the rate at which I'm improving is much, much slower than what it was maybe 3-4 months ago. And so I really just don't think I can quadruple check my work again and improve much more at this point in time. So that's why Maxed Out is probably coming out soon, because I'm in a rhythm now where I'm working on all aspects of the project. And it just feels like it's ready to go. Like it's ready to get out there. I've kind of finished everything that I've needed to wrap up in the sense of the idea generation part. Like the story's already finished, as in the outline of like what happens in the story. Most of the music is being worked on right now and will be finished within the next month or so, because the music, believe it or not, is actually what takes the quickest to do. The manga part is what takes the longest. For those of you who have never drawn manga before, holy cow, that is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Drawing manga is time intensive. It takes a long time. I just said the same thing twice. You get the point. That's how serious it is. It takes such a long time to draw manga, and it's just, you have to storyboard, you have to, just draw the pictures, you have to come up with the text bubbles, because what you write in the story for, like, say, a manuscript is different than what you actually put on the page, at least in the way that I do it. It's just easier for me to do it that way. And so it takes a long, long time to draw manga. And so that's a great way to introduce the big question of this episode: when is Maxed Out coming out? And unfortunately, I will say there is no predetermined release date or anything like that. So there's no way I can just say, oh, it's going to be coming out, on this day, because I just do not know that answer. But I can give you a time window, and that is that I think within the next 2 months, you're going to see Maxed Out be somewhere. So this is the hard part about it, is I've been really trying very hard to decide, to decide whether I was going to release the chapters weekly or finish the whole first volume and then give that to you guys. Because obviously, as an artist, with the amount of work that I've put into it, I wasn't sure if I should charge for the story or not. Like, I wanted to charge for the story, charge money in that aspect, because I put a lot of work in, right? It took a long time, and, it's something that I want. It's just a traditional thing that manga people do. They sell their books, right? And so that was something that I really had to think about for a while there. But the more and more I thought about it, the more and more I just want you guys to read it. I don't really want to essentially put a paywall behind it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. At this moment in time, I think there's a time and a place for that type of thing. I think all art should support the original artists. I'm a very firm believer in that. But it's important, I think, to understand what I'm working with here, and I won't go too much into detail about that, but I think the best way to say that is, like, I just want you guys to read the story, right? And I think what's going to happen with Maxed Out is you guys are going to be able to read the chapters. Right now, I'm going to say this. I hope I'm not wrong about this in the future, because I would feel terrible if I did say this and it wasn't true. But I'm pretty confident this is the way it's going to go, which is the only reason I'm saying it, is I think you're going to be able to read these chapters for free. And I'm just going to put them up on like Manga Dex or something like that, or one of those websites where you upload manga. But when I do finish the first volume, I will make sure that it is like a published book, like a not hardcover, because manga isn't hardcover, but like a published softcover book that you guys can buy say on like Amazon or something like that. So if you want to have, you know, the real life version of Maxed Out for whatever reason, you can buy it off of Amazon for a couple dollars, or something like that. But you know, if you're just like reading it on your iPad or whatever, I mean, I guess we could do it on Kindle as well. Like if you wanted to really just read, have the whole thing there. But essentially what I'm trying to say is that I don't want to put this behind a paywall because the goal is to get this turned into an anime, right? That's been very clear from episode 1 of this radio show. That's what I originally wrote Maxed Out as. And so the best way to do that is to get as many eyes on it as possible, in my opinion. And so I don't want to put it behind a paywall for that reason, because I just want people to read it. I just want to share my story. I want people to get involved in it and, you know, just really enjoy what Maxed Out is. And I think that's a better road for success, doing it that way, which is very scary for me as an artist, right? It's very scary to spend so much time on something and just give it away for free, right? But that's something that you got to learn, I think, that money isn't always everything, I think is a very important thing to take away from what I'm trying to say. Because you never know what doors it can open in the future by doing it the way I'm doing. I think that's what that's a more realistic way of what I'm trying to say there. So, yeah, Maxed Out probably within the next 2 months. I think you'll see the first chapter. And one of the things that was taking so long was the music. I know I said it doesn't take very long to write the music, which it doesn't, but it was finding the vocalist to actually sing over the tracks. But now that that's all been sorted, I don't have to wait for anything anymore. All the lyrics are done for all the songs, and all the vocals are done for all the songs. So those can be shared pretty soon, honestly. And the one thing about the music is now that it's all done, I don't have to wait for anything else for the story to come out, right? So you guys can read it, because that was the biggest thing of what was taking so long, is I wanted the music to be ready before you read the story, because the only thing I haven't figured out about the story, right, is that I wanted the band to have songs that you could go on Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, whatever it is, and you could listen to what the band wrote. And of course, obviously the band didn't write them, I wrote them. But essentially they're like a cover up for me, right? They're taking over my persona. So everybody thinks it's them, but it was really just me that did it. But essentially, I wanted you guys to read the story, feel like you really traveled with this group and their journey of writing the songs, and then you could go on Spotify, YouTube, whatever, and listen to the songs that they wrote. I thought that was such a cool idea. And that's what was taking so long. But the other part of it was that about maybe only a couple months ago did I think of this. I almost thought about writing background music for the manga. So like having an instruction on each page of what background track to play, and just like songs that fit the mood of the panels and whatnot. But I'm not really so sure on that, because I just feel like it's kind of tedious to have to sit there and like scroll through your phone and play the different songs. So, you know, if it ever gets to the anime version, like I would 100% write the background music. I would discuss that with the directors and be like, I would just like to write the background music myself, so they don't like hire somebody else to do it. But for a manga, I'm not so sure that's something that a lot of people would like. I think it would be interesting, and like I guess the point is like maybe they would only play like 1 or 2 songs, and then they would realize it's kind of annoying to have to sit there and like scroll through the playlist and find out which one is which. And obviously it just wouldn't work all that well. So that's why I'm just not really sure if I'm going to do that. But I did think about it. But the band songs, 100%, they're in the story. I just whacked my mic. Sorry about that. They're in the story. 100%. You'll know which songs to play. It'll tell you on the page or whatever. And I think there's going to be, I'm not sure of the final number yet, but there's going to be at least 10 for the first album. And the greatest thing about Maxed Out is that it's going to be coming out for years to come. So I've basically like stockpiled songs and lyrics and vocals. And so I have so many. Like I could probably release like 100 of these It would take a long time, many years, but Maxed Out won't be going away for a long time if I continue to work on this. So the music is going to be set for a long time, which is very, very exciting. So it's good to know that, and why I wanted to share that with you. That's why it took so long, because I was waiting for that to all be wrapped up. So now that I've talked about the music, I'm sure some of you guys are curious of what the music actually sounds like. So I'm just going to play a little preview. This is a song called Expressionless Loop. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the lyrics before I play it, because they're really, really cool to me. And this is one of the main things about Maxed Out. The chorus, I'll translate the chorus, and that's all I'll do. The chorus is essentially... our main character, Max, is someone who feels like they've been stuck in a time loop and they can't get out of it. They feel like they've been living the same day every single day. And you'll see that when you open the book for the first time. That's basically like what's on the first page. It's very clear that she's been stuck in this routine and she can't get out of it. And the chorus talks about, a loose translation is, I've been stuck in the same place, trapped in this expressionless loop with no exit. I want to scream, notice me, but no sound comes out. I just stay silent. And I keep circling in the same place, trapped in an expressionless loop. I wish someone would find me, but my plea goes unheard, fading into the shadows. So very deep, very, very deep. And that's because Max really feels isolated and left out. And I think that's a good basis for pretty much all you need to know about the character. So I'll play a little bit of the song and you can hear it. I feel like it really matches the vibe of those lyrics. But keep in mind, as I play this song, the instrumental is not 100% finished. So this could change by the time it comes out for you guys to hear. But we'll play a little bit of it. We'll play a little bit of it right here from, I don't know, from the pre-chorus or something like that. I do apologize. I think I had a compressor on the master. Should we play it again? I accidentally just boosted the crap out of that. So it probably sounded really distorted. And you know what I might do? Okay, I'm going to edit that in post. I will fix that. Or will I? That sounds like a lot of work. I'm going to play it again. You know, we could just, you and I, we could just listen to it twice. We could just enjoy the music together. I'm just going to play it again because I accidentally had an OTT on it. For those of you who don't know what that is, OTT is like a compressor for music, and it basically like squishes volumes or makes them louder. And I accidentally had an OTT on the master channel of this project file, which I use for the radio show. And it was boosting the crap out of that song. So it's going to sound a little cleaner now. Let's listen to it again. Why not? The more the merrier, right? All right, so I was playing it obviously much quieter than the original file. It's much louder than that, and it's, you know, professionally mixed and mastered and everything. Really cool thing. I'll talk a little bit about the track, and then we'll end this episode off. So definitely inspired by, if you guys know who Sajo no Hana is and Tatsuya Kitani, Tatsuya Kitani, a very famous guitarist in the Japanese scene, has written a lot of anime openings and stuff like that. And Sajo no Hana is Sana-san, and she is a singer that I believe won an audition for like the Mob Psycho intros or something like that. And that's how those two were writing tracks together, and they wrote the opening themes for this show's got such a funny name. Is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon? Crazy. I haven't watched that one yet, but I will definitely watch that show in the future, only so I can watch those intros. But anyways, she's a great singer, obviously. Tatsuya Kitani, great guitarist and great producer as well. And that song that I shared with you is really inspired by I have no idea how to say this name. Maeterlinck? I think that's Maeterlinck. I think that's how you say that. Maeterlinck and Tento. Tento, a very famous song from Sajuna Hana. And I believe is the opening from one of the seasons. But essentially this song is very similar. If you go and listen to those two tracks, so Maeterlinck and Tento by Sajuna Hana, you'll hear the similarities in this song, which doesn't have a name yet. I've just been calling it Expressionless Loop, but it might change in the future. But that's what this song was inspired from, and I just listened to those instrumentals and really studied them and how they wrote the guitars and stuff, and that's how I ended up with what we got there. So feel free to play it again if you want to compare the two side by side, and you can listen back and focus on it. Or you know what? We're going to play it one more time. I've played it 3 times, but this time I'm going to play it at its like actual volume. And I want you guys to listen to those 2 songs I mentioned. So Tento and Maeterlinck. Tento is spelled Tento, and you should be able to find the other one, Maeterlinck, on their page, or it should be near it. Tento by Sajuna Hana is what it's called. So Tento, and Sajuna Hana is spelt Sajou, and then space No, space again, and then Hana, as in flower in Japanese, is Hana. So you should be able to find that stuff there. I'll leave it in the description of this episode, so you guys can just like click on them in YouTube. But if you're like listening to this on your phone or something while you're driving, or I don't know what you're doing, but if you can't get to it, then that's how you spell it. You can look it up for yourself. We're gonna play it again at its actual close to full volume. I'm not gonna play it at full volume because it would just be like insane difference between my voice, but I want you guys to pay attention to the guitars of the 2 tracks of what I wrote and what they wrote, and see if you can hear the similarities in there, because I think it'd be really cool. It's one of my favorite tracks that I've written so far. There's a lot of really cool ones in here. I'm so excited to share the music with you guys, because it has been my favorite part of this project for sure. And it was what I was looking forward to the most when I started this, was writing the music for it. And that's one of my favorite ones that I've written so far, just because the lyrics are really meaningful. And I mean, honestly, for all the songs, the lyrics are really meaningful. They're very deep, and you can really dive into them and learn a lot about the characters through them. And I spent a lot of time really thinking hard about these lyrics, and the instrumentals as well. Like, I just wanted to make sure that the lyrics and the instrumentals meshed and they made sense. And so for this song, I really just like how this one turned out. My guitar playing has improved so much. Excuse me. One thing that has really improved that I didn't realize, it just kind of happened over time, was the drums. How I've improved on the drums of each track. And I definitely feel at this point I'm just so much better at making drums than I was originally. I'm obviously not playing the drums. Like, imagine I had a drum set in my room, right? Drums are freaking huge. They never fit in here. But everything has been done from my bedroom. Like, I have not been to a studio or anything like that. Like, I have completely written all of these songs straight from my desk with just the guitar. And I've just, used like VST plugins and, all my knowledge that I have from making music in the past to make these songs. So the only reason I mention that is because, with enough dedication and hard work, like you guys can do this too. You just got to be creative and think about different avenues of how to get things done. And it's really interesting to be able to do this, but it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work. I cannot emphasize how many. I've probably put like over 2,000 hours into this project at this point. So a lot of work has been put in. Speaking of which, I'm about to wrap up this episode anyways, because I don't think we have any emails or anything to go over. I'll check the email box really quick, but I doubt anybody put anything in there. I rarely check the email because I know that no one's usually submitting anything in there. There might be, there's nothing in here. Okay. So, anyways, feel free to leave your comments down below of any questions that you have or anything like that. I've left it very open-ended for this video. So if you have any questions about the music or, anything like that, leave it down below. It would be super fun to talk about like how I recorded about the music or how I recorded the music and all that stuff. But the last thing I did want to say before I end this episode off was the illustration might change soon here. This was kind of just like a placeholder illustration. It was one of the first ones I made. So the background picture that you're looking at with Max and the headphones and stuff, it's okay, but I've definitely improved as an artist since I last made this illustration. And so I think I might change it. So the thumbnail for the next episode might look a little different. It might look a little cleaner. It just might look different. So I did want to warn you guys of that. But thank you guys to anyone who has subscribed to the channel. I think we're up to 17 subscribers now. Frick yeah, dude. So up to 17. Let's try and hit 100 before 2026. That's our goal between me and you. Me and you watching you're watching this video or listening to it right now. I'm recording it. Between me and you, let's try to get that to 100 by the end of the year. But anyways, I'm just going to round off this episode by saying I will keep you guys updated on when Maxed Out is coming out. If you want more updates, I do have an illustration page on Instagram called Briscoe Illust. So half of the word illustration. Sorry, that is my phone playing right there. So it is spelt BriscoeIllust. And that is where a lot of the information for Maxed Out is being put up right now. So I have about 55 followers on there right now. Numbers are looking a little weak for the social media stuff right now, but we're going to work on that in the future. I'm just, as I'm sure you can understand, I'm just focused on finishing the story right now, not actually trying to grow these pages just yet. So that is the illustration page. So the reason I brought that up is because if you guys want more updates about Maxed Out and you just want to know when it's coming out or when anything is being released, stuff is being put on there and you will definitely see it there first, I imagine. So 100% be sure to follow the Instagram page, but I will also update you guys on here through the community posts and stuff like that. Basically, all I'm trying to say is you will know when Maxed Out is releasing. Probably a week before it comes out, I will start putting stuff out like crazy. So I hope you guys enjoyed the previews. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. It actually went on much longer than I expected it to go on. That was almost 40 minutes, but I hope you guys had a blast today, especially with listening to the music and stuff. And here's to Maxed Out coming out soon. I would say probably end of July or August. You'll probably see the first chapter. So not that far away. So I hope you guys are looking forward to it. And I can't wait to share it with you guys. Thanks so much. And I'll catch you guys in the next episode. See you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll hit you with the outro track as I end this off. If you haven't already, also be sure to watch the previous episodes because there's a lot of information in there about Maxed Out as well. So if you have any questions about it or you're just not really sure about who I am or anything. Especially there was a whole episode dedicated to the music. I know I was just about to end this episode off, but I did want to go over that. I just whacked my mic again. I got to get better at that. But while this episode is ending off here, 100%, like literally 100%, go ahead, watch the other episodes. It'll clear up a lot of information. And I think once the chapters start releasing, I'm going to do episodes that are focused on each chapter. So, you guys can kind of get like, you can read the chapter for yourself, and then you can listen to our radio show, or my radio show, whatever you want to call it, and you can kind of get my insight on what I was thinking when I wrote it and stuff like that. I think that'll be really cool. So that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you guys so much. This is actually the end this time, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.